Hey friends, so if you know anything about golf, hang with me here. It seems like there's often a big parallel between adults who play golf and adults who play trumpet. Actually, it should be the other way around. There's a big correlation between adults who play trumpet that also play golf. I think it's because we're probably the type of people that like to figure out challenges and problems and things that look simple on the surface but are actually very deep, difficult, and complex underneath. I think we're the type of people that like those challenges. But if you know anything about golf and learning to play golf, if you take a golf lesson, one of the first things they'll tell you is that they will work on your grip, how you grip the golf club. And they will go in and tell you, because it's so important, because how you grip the club will basically control everything about what happens next in your golf swing. And the grip of your club, like where it sits in your hands, the rotation of your hands and everything, is the thing that links you to the club itself. And linking you to the club itself is going to control everything about the angles and the hinge and the wrists and the arms and everything else that happens. All happens through that link. And that little bit is so critical that a bad grip can be almost impossible to overcome, or you end up doing all these other manipulations and things just to try to overcome it. I know for myself, I've enjoyed playing golf. I've played golf off and on for probably over 20 years, and I took about a 10-year break during that time. But I've gotten back into it in a big way in the last couple of years. And in the last couple of weeks, I noticed I changed my grip slightly, and it had ridiculous changes to my golf game. Things that I had never been able to do, it basically fixed immediately. Like there was no adjustment or whatever. It was like an immediate fix. I went from typical out. I mean, I'm a bad golfer, so don't get this confused. But I went from on an average 18 holes, I might only hit 2 to 4 fairways would be average for me, to only missing 2 or 3 fairways. Like it was that big of an adjustment off the tee. And here's the correlation to trumpet, because you might be just sitting there thinking did I just stumble into a golf channel? Or I think for us, the way our embouchure and the way our lips are positioned and how we hold them and do all this stuff is exactly the same importance as the grip for a golfer, because our embouchure and our lip position is essentially how we grip the mouthpiece. It is our lips are our connection to the instrument. And I think that oftentimes, I know this is going to sound odd, but I think oftentimes the lips and the embouchure can be kind of put off, or people are told not to worry about it. The importance of it is undersold, and people focus on other things like air and stuff like that. And I'm of the opinion, in general, I think air is mostly not a thing we need to worry about if everything else is working together properly. And I often read and occasionally post on the Trumpet subreddit. It's a little hard sometimes to pay attention to that Reddit, because that subreddit, because it seems like it's just sort of chock full of beginning or high school trumpet players, which, no offense meant to high school trumpet players, but those are just groups of people that don't know much about the trumpet yet. They haven't yet experienced much of anything, and it's not the level that I'm generally interested in trying to solve. Not to say there aren't some outstanding high school players. There certainly are, and there's certainly some high school players that are very, very serious. There might be some of you watching that are in high school, but on average, they're not that curious, or they ask kind of the same questions over and over again. But a lot of times people's answer to their questions will be well, you need to just think about the notes writing on the air, or you need to focus on your airflow and all this kind of stuff. And while none of those things are necessarily incorrect, I think it's largely not helpful. And so I think the way that our lips connect to the mouthpiece is very similar to the way that a golfer grips a golf club. And if we get that set up where it feels good and it's optimum, it sets up everything else that happens after that. I know when my embouchure is set up and my lips are in the right position and things feel right, my airflow is automatically there. Like it is there without me having to think about it or try to flow my air or anything. The air flows through my lips. It just happens. It's a byproduct of getting all this set up. If I get my embouchure set up and then just take a nice relaxed breath and then release it kind of with that type of sigh, if my connection to my mouthpiece with my lips is good, and if it's correct and functional and efficient, then the results that come out of it tend to be so much better. So a lot of this channel, we focus on those things about that connection. And I just had that epiphany just kind of came, and I wanted to share that with you and have you kind of think about that, the importance of your lips. And for me, I have found that a good lip position, and that I'll just say position, but that could be, how much roll in or roll out I'm doing. It could be the firmness of my lips before I set. It could be the angle of the mouthpiece against my chops. Once I get all those things we're in a position where it feels optimal and efficient, the results are immediate. I just immediately notice a drastic difference. And it's also, the results are obvious to anyone who would listen. Whereas sometimes our focus on trying to flow our air better, if we're being honest, the results are barely noticeable, if at all. A lot of that type of comment and stuff that I see, it's more like psychoacoustics. We just think we're hearing a difference. We're not really. It's not that big of a difference. But when your connection to your instrument is efficient and right, then you're going to find that like doing everything is easier. Slurs are easier. Range is easier. Endurance is easier. Articulation is infinitely easier. Lip slurs are easier. Like everything, playing soft is easier. Playing loud is easier. All these things come together, all with that simple change, and you'll notice it right off the bat. So if in your playing, if you're finding like, man, like just things don't happen, like my upper register feels stuffy, or I get too much back pressure here, or I don't have enough range, or I don't have enough endurance, I'll just tell you right now, I don't think the answer is your airflow. It might be, but if you're not flowing air, it's probably because of something you're doing here. It's probably something with your lips, maybe your tongue, but it's probably something here that you need to adjust that will allow your air to flow. All right, if you've got too much tension and too much compression here on your chops, and the air can't flow through, Jim Manley, the fabulous trumpet player out of St. Louis, often told me the number one job for the lips is to let the air pass through them. So if you're so, crunched down here that the air can't come through, it's going to back up. You're going to feel it in your throat and everywhere else. You're going to have this tension everywhere. Of course you are. There's no amount of flow that you can't flow anything through a closed tube. It's not going to happen. So anyway, just a little thought. Let me know if you agree, what your thoughts are in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.